Hey guys, Dave coming to you from the paddock here in Southern Maryland. It is Wednesday, September 11th, 2024, 9/11. Wanted to tell you my story, my 9/11 story. I feel like our country is forgetting what it was like to go through that. I think the world is forgetting how unified we were and how horrified we were. I don't want to go into all the bad side of this subject. We can talk about false flags later. We can talk about World Trade Center 7 later, but I just want to tell you my story because just do my part to put energy back into it so that we don't forget. I think that's important for us to do. So in 2001, I was an elected official. Here in Calvert County, we have a board of county commissioners. There's 5 of us. I was elected in 98 and reelected in '02, but on 2001, I was president of that board of county commissioners. The general public elects the 5 commissioners, and the commissioners select the president. And I spent 6 of my 8 years as president of the board. So, working with what we call a county administrator, we essentially fulfilled the role of a county executive. And so, I had a pretty public role at the time. So, 2001, so September 11th, 2001 was a Tuesday. And Tuesdays were the day that the Board of County Commissioners actually met in the courthouse in Prince Frederick, Maryland. And we televise the meetings, and we have the public in, and we have all the people in who need to meet with us that's on the calendar for that day. We have a staff meeting with everybody to get ready at 9 a.m., and at 10 a.m. we go live on television. So we had come into the staff meeting, so all 5 commissioners sitting up on the dais, and all our department heads are out there, and we're trying to have a staff meeting. And we had we had the first plane go in. So in fact, I just looked up the timeline, so I'll just go through with you. 8:46, the first tower is hit. 9:03, the second tower is hit. 9:37, the Pentagon is hit. 9:59, the first tower collapses. It was actually the second tower hit. 10:03, the plane goes down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And at 10:37, the second tower collapses, which actually was the first tower hit. So from 8:46 to 10:37, essentially over a 2-hour period that morning, 3 planes hit 3 buildings, and we had 2 collapse. And it takes a while for all that news to get down to us. One, we're in a closed door. We're in a big hearing room. The doors are closed. The news starts to come out. And the way I was told was my sheriff came into the back of the public side of the room and started doing the, hey, I need to see you. And I went in the back room with him for a minute, turned the staff meeting over to the vice president, and went in the back room, and he said, hey, we got a problem. We've had a plane going to the World Trade Center. And the mindset back in 2001 was, I was like, wow, okay, man, I feel bad. A small plane hit a tower. It's happened before. Planes had hit the Empire State Building in the past. And he goes, no, a big plane. I was like, wow, that is really weird. But it's New York. It's not here. I got to keep going. I go back in. And over the course of the next hour, he probably interrupts me 3-4 more times, even after we're back on television in formal public session. And I'm like, man, this guy's brain dead. He keeps interrupting me. And he finally said, hey, the 2 towers have gone down. There's a Pentagon event. There was a 4th plane. They thought it was headed for the White House or for the Capitol building. And the state of Maryland has declared emergency. We need to get you into the emergency shelter. And I didn't even know we had one, to be honest with you. It turned out it was the basement of the courthouse. So we had to go back out into public session and kind of announce to the public, the final event was 10:39. So sometime before 11 o'clock, we announced to all the people, we have 91,000 people in our county. And we had to tell them, hey, there's been some terrorist attacks, at least that's what it looks like, in New York City and in the Pentagon. The county government's closing. The county schools are closing. Please don't flood the schools. Let the buses get your kids home. And the county government is closed today, and we will get back to you. And at that point, the staff asked me to go down into the emergency shelter, and pretty much the rest of the government was sent home. And they said, you need to call in air support. I was like, what are you talking about? So Calvert County has what we call Calvert Cliffs nuclear power plant. It's a dual reactor. It actually has 2 cooling domes. There's 2 full reactors, still there to this day. But they were worried. It's the closest nuclear power plant to the Washington, D.C. area. So they were worried a plane might try and crash into it and break it open. And so they said, you have the authority to call an air support from the Navy. We have Patuxent Naval Air Station, just about 20 miles south of the county courthouse and about 10 miles south of the nuclear power plant. And I had no idea. I've never even dreamed that I would call in air support for anything as an elected official, but they said it's in your handbook. And I said, dude, he goes, you never even read it, did you? And I said, nope. And they said, well, at least tell me where you put it. And I said, well, it's in my lower right-hand drawer of my desk. He went out, and the embarrassing part was it was still shrink wrapped. So I'd had it for 3 years at that point, and I'd never bothered to look at it. But sure enough, there was a tab in my handbook that said how to call in air support when required from Patuxent Naval Air Station. Now, I knew the commander of NAVAIR, the 3-star, and I knew the base commander, the full captain, from all the political events, because they're fairly political, and so we attend a lot of the same functions in the evenings, a lot of the same dinners. So I knew these guys, but I had to call a specific phone number with a specific ID phrase, with a specific ID code. And we actually got through to Air Ops, and basically said we're requesting combat air support for the nuclear power plant. And the base commander ended up coming on the line and saying, hey, we're a training base. We do not have combat ready aircraft. It'll take me about 2 or 3 hours to get some training configured aircraft, F-18s, configured for combat. Can I send 2 gunships up instead for now? And I was like, yeah, what am I going to say? Of course. So they flew 2 big gunships, and they just hovered over the reactors for a while. They had to go back for refueling, but they basically provided air support for us till the F-18s could get in the air. And by the time the F-18s got in, FAA had been shut down, so there were no planes anywhere. And in fact, the only planes that we saw were these 2 F-18s, fairly high up, but they were running combat rig. They weren't running any nav lights or anything, so you couldn't see them. You could only hear them. And at night, it was really weird because you could see stars winking out as they ran that racetrack pattern over our nuclear power plant, and you could hear them, but it just was so weird that you could hear aircraft but not see them, and that they were the only aircraft around. So we also had to do some things to help get President Bush back to the White House, and they used some of our roads to do that, and we had to get our sheriff's department to prepare what we call Route 4, which is the main highway it runs completely north-south through the entire length of the county, and they needed that road cleared for him, so we were able to do that. So it was weird to play a role on television. It was weird to play an elected citizen role. It was weird to play a role with calling in military aircraft to protect our nuclear power plant. So it was something that affected us pretty deeply, as I'm sure it did everybody. But here in the county, we played a real role. And the other part that I'll talk about is I had a contract at Fort Meade, and they went to Force Condition Delta, and that affected my staff pretty pretty deeply as far as having to ID on the way in and on the way out every time you touch the base. And then that was pretty serious. And then Marine Corps Quantico, the main Marine Corps base Quantico, also went FORSCON Delta. And I had several people inside of the FBI compound that is inside or on Quantico. So that affected those guys as well. So I don't really know what else to tell you. I just wanted to, like I say, inject some energy into the 9/11 stories, into the 9/11 memories, and to make sure that we do our part to really not forget, and help if you're really younger than about 33, you probably don't even remember it. If you're less than 10 years old when something goes on, it's hard to remember it. So being 23 years ago, a 10-year-old would be 33 years old today. So I don't even know what population in the county is less than 33 years old out of the country, but I bet you it's something like half. So I do feel like we're losing the memory. I do feel like we are kind of forgetting what it's like to be vulnerable and attacked. And I just wanted to do my part. So that was my story for 9/11. And I hope their day is going well. And I'm going to go ahead and just end it here and post this. Talk to you later.